Well, hello, hello, hello. How is everybody doing? This is Michael here at ILRE Real Estate, and we have today's ILRE Real Estate success story. And we have Julie who's going to join us, and she is going to share some pretty... the one thing that you will find within the ILRE Real Estate community is how each student uses and applies some strategies and techniques and things that they've learned within the community from Dymphna in a very, very different way. So let's get straight into it and introduce Julie. Now, Julie is from Western Australia. She has been a student for a number of years now in the ILRE Real Estate community. And she's also spoken on stage and she's done some amazing stuff. And I think that the key point with Julie is her ability that she's learned to network quite well. Julie, how are you doing?
Good, thanks, Michael. Hi, everyone. Yeah, it's nice to be here. I'm here at the last minute. Actually, this morning I was ready to go off to the beach for a swim. I've decided today is going to be the day that I'm going to dive into the ocean, even though it's been cold. So Michael's helped me to put that off for a bit, but I'll do it after this.
You're diving into a very different activity here. No, I got to say, Julie, it's the one thing that I found is just that you've been so kind of like gracious in being able to go, you know what, I'm happy to help out, and it's one of those things that I just love with the community. I think it's the I love real estate. There's a good feeling of community and stuff. So thank you so much. All right, now for anyone who has, let me just make sure everything's all going there. We've got everyone joined up. Okay, good. Okay, that's all good. Now, anyone on Facebook, please, if you haven't already, the best way to have a better experience is to join us here via Zoom. I'm just going to put the link for those Facebookers. So if you're on Facebook, click onto this link and join us in Zoom for that better experience. There you go. Now, let's get straight into it, Julie. So I want to kind of find out a little bit about where you're at before joining the community. So can you give us a bit of an idea of, what life was like before you joined? Is that okay?
Yep. So, I live in Perth, as Michael said, and I was married with 3 children, and I had always really liked property and wanted to invest in property. So eventually, once I'd started sort of working again after having the kids, my husband and I decided to do a couple of house and land package. It was around the 2007 time, and property prices were going up. So we did a house and land package. We lived in Jullie, which is 25 k's north of the city, and we built a house and land package down in Secret Harbour, which is 60 k's south of the city. That went well, and so by the end of it being finished built, it was worth probably 80 to 100,000 more than what we had paid for it. But rather than sell it and cash in, because we were trying to get money to build our dream house in Yanchep, we decided to hold it and build another one. So what happened the following year when we were building the second one was the GFC hit, and we were halfway through the build when that happened. So we couldn't get out of it. We had to keep paying money to get this house completed whilst property prices started going down. So by the time it was completed, we had to sell it for a loss, and it was, quite devastating, really. We were living in a rental property in Jullie, and after 6 years of renting, I just decided, you know what, I just want to live in my own house. We've got a house in Secret Harbour. We didn't build it for us. We built it as an investment, but I just decided that I wanted to move into that. At least I could be by the beach, because Secret Harbour is a beachside suburb, and just a complete change of scenery from, where we'd lived for the last 20 years. So because of all of that, I really just gave up on property. I didn't want to do it anymore. I thought that it's just not for me. I know other people make money out of it, but we couldn't. So I went away for a girls' weekend away a few months later, and my husband went to a Dymphna free event in Perth. And I came back from my girls' weekend, and my husband said to me, "Oh, you've got to see this lady. Like, you're going to change your mind about wanting to do property again. Like, she talks a lot of sense." And I said, "Well, that's great." And he said, "Well, she won't be back in Perth for another year." So I said, oh, okay, I'll see her next year when she comes. And he said to me, no, I've booked tickets to Sydney to go and see her next month. You can't wait for a year to go and see her. And I'm just like, oh no, like I'm trying to pull back on frivolous spending and try and like get somewhere in life. And here's you spending more money on airfares now and accommodation to Sydney, but it was great. So we went there, watched Dymphna's free event.
I've got to say that's a lot of commitment too, you know, like clearly there was like a penny that had dropped and it's like, no, we've got to fly because it's from Perth, isn't it? From Perth, you're on the other side there. And just on what you mentioned as well, when the GFC hit, Perth got hit a little bit harder than everywhere else, didn't it? So it was a real,
probably. Yeah.
So it was kind of like a tough thing. And then of course, out of that, it's like, oh, let's take the money to fly over to Sydney.
Yes. Yeah. So then, you know, we spent $5,000 on joining the Ultimate program, and we just knew it was going to be worthwhile. So we did the boot camp here in Perth. But when I went to the boot camp, like I was still in the state of thinking, like, I'm just not sure that I've got the confidence to do this because, you know, we'd failed basically in the past. And I've gone to the boot camp and I've seen all these people talking confidently about money and, you know, how much equity they've got in their house, you know, $1 to $2 million and that kind of thing. And I just felt so small and insignificant and like I really didn't belong there because I just was not in a great financial position. And also I don't know, I didn't have the confidence, and I didn't really talk to many people, to be honest, because I didn't feel worthy of being there. But when after,
a tough one, yeah. No, that's a tough one, isn't it? Because you're I mean, like for those who've been kind of coming along to the events, and we've got an Ultimate Boot Camp running at the moment. It's all online, so there's less of that kind of interaction. But previously, it was a table, and it was about maybe 8 people to a table, and you're all interacting and talking, and tough one. And now I just want to highlight this because I know things have changed on this one as well, that you weren't confident to talk. Was that right?
Yes.
Stay tuned on this point. I'm mentioning it for a reason because things change on this point. So, okay.
Yeah. So, what I did though, like as I said, I wasn't confident. So being in Perth, I really wanted to connect with people that were doing stuff in Perth, like along the lines of what Dymphna was teaching as far as positive gearing and, you know, creating manufacturing growth in properties and that kind of thing. So I just sought out property investment groups and meetings in Perth to try and find someone in Perth that was doing this strategy, not the negative gearing that everyone was talking about at the time.
So this is the start of you kind of getting into the networking side of things.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
You were reaching out to people in the local area.
Yeah, because I just wanted proof that it could be done in Perth, because Perth is a very different market to the eastern states. And so throughout that networking, I started to meet quite a few people, and I met people that were doing it in Perth, and also people that were just connected and looking for these types of properties as well, and understanding the strategies. I think that was more it, like just actually being on the same wavelengths with the strategies. And so I set, by the end of that year, towards the end of that year, I set myself a goal. I said, I'm going to write an offer on a property before Christmas, because I thought otherwise I'm just going to keep learning and not doing. So I put an offer on a house, and it wasn't accepted, but at least I had taken that action, and that was a big turning point really for me. Throughout doing that, I had been looking all over Perth at all these different strategies, doing lots of feasibilities, giving myself analysis paralysis, and looking at suburbs that I probably couldn't even afford anyway. So when I realised what I was doing, I thought, no, I'm just going to look for a diamond in my own backyard. I know the suburb that I'm living in, which is Secret Harbour. So I went into the local real estate agent to tell her, this is what I do. So I haven't mentioned that I decided after the boot camp that our strategy would be to renovate and flip. So,
and this is something kind of like you got kind of like you clarified your goals. Was that where that happened? Do you want to tell us just a little bit about what happened and why that was your strategy?
Yeah, because we had been stuck in the GFC with the house that was being built and property prices going down, I did not want to be stuck in a market where I had no control anymore. And my husband also was a tradie and I had admin skills. So with all of those things put together, we decided that our best strategy was to renovate and sell quickly. So that's what we wanted to do. We did understand, though, that he wouldn't be doing the work, even though he could possibly do it, because we wanted to do it quickly. Like, our main goal was to get in and out quickly, because we didn't want to be stuck, because, you know, that hurt us before.
Yeah.
So so I went into the local real estate agent and just said, like, I'm a renovator. Hadn't done any yet. And, you know, I'm just looking for something that's run down that I can buy, renovate and sell again for a profit. And she said, yes, I know exactly what you're after. And I'm the one for you. I'm your partner in this, and I'll find you something. So I think it was about 3 days before Christmas, she rang me and she said, Jules, I've got the property for you, but we can't get you in because the tenants are being really difficult. And I said, that's fine. Just send me the floor plan of the house and the address. And I knew from the floor plan that it was a good house. It flowed well. And I knew the location was good. And it's a family suburb. So it had a decent sized backyard. It had all it ticked all the boxes for families.
Sorry, I don't want to, I know I'm interrupting here, but there's a particular point here which I think really needs a bit of clarity as well, and that is that you reached out to a real estate agent and you gave them a very clear indication of exactly what you were looking for. Yep. They then literally found it and delivered it straight to you.
Absolutely. Yep.
That's just, Dymphna talks about mates in the market, and I think even the coaches, Michael and Sarah, said when you're actually looking for a deal, you just deliver them. This is exactly what I'm looking for, and then it works so well. So yeah, classic applying the training. Yeah.
Yes, that's it.
And it delivers back. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, once I was clear on what I'm after, then I can communicate that very clearly to people. So it doesn't complicate things. And yeah, so we put in an offer because we couldn't get in. The tenants were being difficult, and the owners lived in Queensland, and it was just, you know, a few days before Christmas. We just put in an offer subject to satisfactory viewing when we could. So by the time they got to show people through the property, we already had it under offer. So yeah, our offer was accepted. So so we settled on it on the 23rd of February, and by the 23rd of March, we had an offer. Was under offer again. So we've done the reno. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we'd done the reno and had it sold again in 4 weeks.
And what did you make in 1 month?
$36,000. So
awesome for a month. For a month. That's a nice return for a month, isn't it?
It was. But more importantly for us, it showed us that yes, we do know what we're doing, and we've got the formula. We know how to do it.
Awesome. So did you do it again?
Yes. So because by now I was just excited, really, and you know, therefore confident as well, because I had success with my first deal. I went to
Julie. Sorry, I don't want to kind of hold you up here, but can you describe how that deal changed your approach? Because you did come in, because you mentioned you didn't have the confidence and so forth. How did that deal actually change you? Because you mentioned it gave you confidence. Do you want to? Is there anything else you could kind of expand on that?
Yeah, well, definitely confidence in knowing that I had a system basically that I had employed whilst doing this. A lot of it was just keeping my energy level right up. I was not prepared to have any negativity on site at all, even if there were problems. All problems can be solved. So it was, that was a big part of it, actually. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
So because I was excited, I just went to another free event in Perth, and it was like Richard Branson millionaire sort of type of event, entrepreneurs event. And I saw someone there that I'd met through my property investing networking. So I just went up to him and said, I'm just so excited. We just did our first deal and we made $36,000. And he said, that's fantastic. he said, oh, I've been doing this strategy where I talk to homeowners that are about to have their houses taken over by the bank because they're in mortgage arrears. So I've got this house under option at the moment, but we don't have any renovation expertise and we don't have any money to do the reno. So can we joint venture with you? And I said, yes, absolutely. So
cool.
Yeah.
Funny, those connections.
Yes, yeah. So we did that deal. So all up, we put in $60,000 because we had to. We paid the homeowner $20,000, and then they walked away from the house and all the debts associated with it. We paid the mortgage arrears, the rates arrears, and anything else that was in arrears, and we paid the ongoing mortgage payments while we were doing the reno. We did the reno in 3 weeks, and it took 10 days to sell once it was completed. And the profit in that was $100,000. So we split that 50,000 to us and 50,000 to the other couple. And so when you think about, we didn't buy that property, we put in $60,000 of our own cash and we project managed the renovation. We made $50,000 return on our $60,000 investment. So it was a really good return. And it was in, within probably a couple of months is what we got that return. Yeah.
Another nice return in a very short period of time. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
And I think that the thing you probably should mention is that it may seem like, like 100,000 is actually a lot of money in like 2 months as well, which is amazing. Yes. So it's these short, chunks.
It was, and it was a cheap property. It was a little 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house, and it sold for $320,000. So yeah. So it's not like $1 million properties either. So as you said, Michael, we're on a roll, no stopping us.
You're gaining momentum, you're gaining confidence, and things are aligning. Yep.
Yes, except that my husband and I then split up after 25 years of marriage. So that sort of put a halt on our renovating and flipping journey. So I spent a year just getting my life back on track, really, or figuring out what it meant moving forward. And towards the end of that year, one of the guys that ran one of the property groups that I had been going to, the monthly meetings, contacted me and said, "I'd really love you and Gary to speak at our April event about that takeover deal that you did, the one that I just described." And I said, well, that's okay, but Gary and I have split up, but I'm happy to come and do the presentation for you. So I did that. And the next morning, someone that had been there rang me and she said, look, I saw you last night. I'm a very busy woman. I've got my own property management business and I'm passionate about property, but I don't have the time to actually do any investing. So can I joint venture with you in a reno flip? So I said, yes, okay. We can do that.
Isn't it amazing what happens when you are confident and you're out there and you're sharing, and then suddenly these things go. And the other thing is you're very clear on what you're good at. This is what you're good at. Yeah. Fantastic. So what happened with this one?
So I found a little house, a little asbestos cottage in Perth's cheapest suburb. So the previous houses that I had done and also the houses I'd lived in have all been double brick. So asbestos was new to me, but I just thought, oh, well, I can do anything. So it was a massive learning curve. I had to learn a lot about asbestos while I was doing this project, but it all worked out fine. It was just a cute little cottage. It really just needed some paint and tidying up and a bit of staging furniture in there. So we bought it for she bought it for $230. I didn't put any money into the deal, and she paid for the renovation, and we made $23,000 profit out of that. So quite a small profit, which we also split, but it gave her the confidence that I do know what I'm doing. I did the renovation in 3 weeks, and the formula works as well. So that worked out well, and that gave her confidence to move forward and buy another property a bit more expensive to do another joint venture.
23K in less than a month. Okay, nice. But then that was split 50-50 too.
Yeah.
So it was a smaller one, but still, gave that confidence. Yeah, awesome. So you did another one with her, did you?
Yes, I did. So I know that sometimes people want to hear about stuff that might go wrong, as far as, you know, instead of just always feeling like everything's just glossy and shiny and successful. In any sort of renovation that I've done, there's usually some sort of issues that need solving. But in this particular one, we bought this property. So this is the second one I've done with this JV partner now. I was approached by a property developer that I know that had a client that had bought a property, and they'd split it into 3. So the original house was on the middle block, and then they had 2 side blocks, you know, one on each side. So this property developer said to me, have you got a JV partner that would be interested in buying this asbestos cottage in this small block? And I said, and it was a good suburb near Fremantle. So I said, yes, I do. So we bought it. My JV partner bought it, but the titles hadn't been issued yet. And the developer told me that the titles would be issued in 6 weeks. So we just, she put in the offer, got it accepted. And then we assumed that we would start in 6 weeks' time. As it turned out, the titles didn't get issued for 11 months. And yeah, so although there weren't any holding costs associated with that because she didn't own the property yet, what happened was in that time, there were a lot of protests for a new highway that was being built to the side of that suburb. It was sort of going to come along the back of that suburb. And because of all the uncertainty and whether the highway was going to go through, or, you know, just with all the protests, the property prices in that suburb were going down. And she couldn't get out of the contract. So my feasibility had that the property would sell for $595,000 once it was completed. And as this was going on, as months were going on and no titles were being issued and we couldn't start the renovation, I didn't want to start the renovation before the titles were issued either, before we owned it or before she owned it, because I just felt that was too risky. And I'm glad that I didn't, because we would have been sitting there with a renovated property for all this time as well, because it took 11 months. So yeah, so the property prices were going down. So eventually we got titles 11 months later, did the reno, went to sell it, and it was on the market for 3 weeks, and it didn't sell for what we needed it to sell for. Basically, didn't get any offers at that price. So my JV partner decided that she would keep it in her portfolio and she would pay me out a project management fee. And yeah, so she would keep it. So there's always, you know, option 2 and option 3 with any deal, you know, that we do. And so she was quite okay with doing that, as she owned a property management business. So, you know, that worked well for her. What happened over the following year, though, after she held on to it, the highway didn't go through and property prices went back up, and she was able to refinance at the end of the year, and the bank valued it at $595,000, which is
exactly what you said. Amazing. So, that's amazing. That's so cool.
Yeah, but that was sort of something that definitely needed solving, and it probably took a year to solve, really.
Wow, tough one. Yeah. And look, it's a good point as well, because it's and it's the thing I've noticed is that, you know, what you're describing here is an attitude that you're wanting to solve problems.
Yeah.
And you've mentioned it as well just a bit earlier, is that you said, oh, I can do anything. And I think that really is a key point, is that no matter what comes up at you, you've got the tools, or you've got the support, or you've got the info, whatever it is, or the confidence to be able to solve a problem, any problem that comes your way. So yeah, awesome. Thanks for sharing that one.
Yeah, no worries.
So what did you do then?
Well,
did someone call you, or did someone kind of get in contact with you again?
Well, I went to a networking event for passionate property people, and met a man there. He said, oh, what do you do? I told him what I did. So the next day he sent me an email. He said, look, I'm a very busy man, but I'm passionate about property. Can I have a coffee meeting with you and talk to you about joint venturing with you so that we can do a reno flip together?
Now, does everyone see a trend happening here? There's a pattern emerging. I don't know if you see the pattern emerging. Dymphna calls it your cookie cutter. You do it again and again, ka-chunk, 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 and it's just like you really got on your roll here, haven't you? You've got that kind of confidence. You've got that role, and you're getting out with your networking. So yeah, awesome.
Yep. Yeah. So I found another one in the suburb that I live in Secret Harbour. So it was a mortgagee in possession, and there was graffiti on the walls and smashed windows, that kind of thing. So yeah, I've given him the confidence to buy this terrible looking property at auction.
Yep.
Auctions weren't normally the way that we would buy properties in Perth at the time, so that was a bit nerve-wracking for him. But anyway, did the renovation, and that one probably took about 8 to 10 weeks because there was a lot of work to be done in that one. And so the profit in that was 40,000, which we split, so we got 20,000 each. So that was okay, yeah. But once again, it was in Perth's very flat market too. So, you know, like they're not huge numbers, but yeah, they're profits.
Absolutely, and it's you know, what is it? But just over 2 months.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're getting 20 grand each over over 2 months. That's a nice return. Yeah.
And it was a buy price of 257,000 and a sell price of 409,000. So you know, they're not really high end properties or anything. There was something else I was going to say about that, but that doesn't matter. We'll just move on. Yep.
Sure. Yep. Oh, well, actually, the one thing that I wanted to ask you is that with all of these deals, were you, who was putting the money in?
They're putting the money in 100%. So I don't put any money into the deals. So they buy the property either in their name or in their trust, however they like to do it. And they pay for the stamp duty, the settlement costs, the renovation costs, the holding costs, and but I project manage it all. So I find the property. So I suppose rather than charging a buyer's agent's fee, that's just part of my joint venture share. Is I find the property, I do the feasibility, the due diligence, the suburb research, all the rest of it. And I project manage the reno, so I'm there most days, and I'm liaising with the trade. So they really have nothing to do with it. So because they're busy people, they don't want the day-to-day stuff. I'm doing that, and then I just email them the invoices, and you know, I'll send them at the end of every week, you know, project summary, a timeline of where we're at, and you know, keep in communication the whole time. But they're certainly not on site, and I'm making the decisions.
Yeah, awesome. Now there is a question here about the cost of the renos, and I think that you have mentioned that on a couple of them, haven't you?
Yep.
So
I'll just see what the question is. The cost of the reno, so we can get a sense of what was spent on the reno. So the very first one that we did, we bought the property for 360,000. We spent 17,000 on the reno, and we made $36,000 profit. So the second one, which was the one that we didn't buy, it was a takeover deal. We spent, I think, $25,000 on that reno, and but we also paid out a lot of other costs because it was a different kind of deal. So all up, we spent $60,000 on all the expenses with that deal.
And that's the one that you made 100K on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then the very first JV that I did on my own without my husband and with the JV partner was the buy price was 230. The renovation was 23,000, and the profit was 23,000. Then the one that I just described with the basically mortgagee in possession, we bought it for 257. The reno on that was actually $80,000. So that needed new windows throughout, new aircon. My JV partner also wanted a security system installed on that one because of the previous, you know, people that had lived there. And then the reno. So, and the staging, my staging costs is included in my reno cost as well. So that was a very expensive reno, but still there was profit in it. And it needed to be done to bring it to the level that that suburb wanted for a family home. Yeah, so then the next one, okay, that's good. Sorry, I was looking at the chat.
You're looking at the chat. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get rid of that.
Oh, no, I can read them out. I think Tabitha was asking, how did Julie decide what her time is worth, or were these deals a percentage profit split?
Yeah, percentage split. So it's 50-50 percentage profit split. So my part of the joint venture is to find the property and to project manage it, and that's my time. Yeah, and my time and my expertise, and also my contacts with my trades and that kind of thing as well.
Yeah, awesome.
So the next one that I did, oh, that's right. So after that, because Perth's market was pretty flat, you know, it wasn't that easy to just like keep churning over properties quickly. You know, like once I've got it, I can do it quickly, but to find them and find something that's going to make a profit, you know, I was finding there was, you know, quite a few months in between. So I started running workshops to teach people how to renovate for profit, because I found that people, even if they'd done some sort of property education or they had some sort of experience, they still weren't confident with the actual steps to do that were going to make the biggest difference without being overwhelmed with so much stuff that they can research. So I've started running workshops to teach people each step. So they bring their laptop along and I show them the websites to go to, and I have just simple templates that they can use to get them really clear on their suburb research, get them clear on their feasibility, get them clear on what needs to be done on the reno. So while I was running one of these workshops, one of the ladies in my workshop said to me that she was very busy, but she had cash that she could buy a property. So she asked me if she could joint venture with me to find a deal and do it with her. So that's the next one that I did.
That's deal number 6, is it?
It was about that, I think. Yeah.
I'm trying to count. Okay, so how did that one go? That was a bit of a cheap house, was it?
Yes, it was back in the cheap suburb in Perth called Medina, and it had been under offer, but someone's finance had fallen over. So it was a deceased estate. It was quite uninhabitable. So we put in a cash offer of 130,000. We said we can settle quickly. So that was appealing to them because finance had fallen over previously. They couldn't get a loan for the property. And being a deceased estate, the beneficiaries were in England and the executor was in Singapore. So basically, you know, solve their problem. Here's the cash.
Yeah.
We'll take over your problem. So we did that. We got it for 130. We spent 50,000 on the reno, and that includes staging furniture. And we sold it before the first home open for 259,000, and the profit in that was 63,000. And that was over Christmas, New Year time. And I think that reno took about 6 weeks.
63K profit over Chrissy. That's a nice Chrissy present, isn't it?
So I split that with my JV partner. So we got 31,500 each.
And once again, you didn't put any money into it.
No.
You're using your expertise, your project management skills, your contacts, and obviously your management skills and so forth. Yeah. Fantastic. Yep. Cool. You did another one, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. So she was pretty happy with that. So I started looking for something else. And I found this one back in Secret Harbour again. I do look in a lot of other suburbs, but these seems to be the ones that have worked. So that's what I'm doing. So I found this one, and it was a mortgagee sale, and the auction was on the 21st of December. So still in Perth, auctions aren't that popular. So it's usually only the mortgagee sales that go to auction. And because of the terms with the auctions, people, unless you've got cash, it's pretty hard to bid. So a lot of people will go to these auctions and wait for it to be passed in so that they can then put in an offer subject to finance. But so I said to my JV partner, we have to get this property for 300,000 and we have to get it at the auction because I know that someone will pay more for it than that. And I'm hoping that I'll be the only bidder. Did my previous JV partners keep doing JVs with me as well? Yes. So the first JV partner, I did 2 deals with her, but because she kept the second house, the one, you know, where the property prices went down for 11 months while the titles weren't issued. And then she ended up keeping it in her portfolio. That was kind of her out of the market as far as buying more properties goes. So then
and she paid you out because it wasn't the sell. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So then the next man, that one that we spent, or that was the smashed window house. I've only done the one with him. He sort of then went on and started his own business and that kind of thing. So that was that one. And then this JV partner that came to me through my workshops, I've done 2 with her. So after this second one is when COVID hit. So she's actually gone and bought her dream property now. So she's living on the land and very happily. No, that's okay. Please, I'm going back to my previous convo. That's good. So this, because I just wanted to share this one because it's quite a different one again, and it's, you know, it's just fun to do all these different deals. So I've gone to the auction. I knew what my walkaway figure was. I knew that we had to pay no more than 300,000 for it, and I knew someone, if they were going to put in an offer subject to finance, that they would pay more. So I've gone to the auction. I am the only bidder, luckily. So I put in an offer of 200,000.
Yep.
And no one else has put in a bid. So then they've just taken me outside and said, okay, we're just going to talk in private now. So they've rung the bank people, you know, like the people that work for the mortgagee stuff. And they've said to me, look, the reserve price is 340. And I said, look, I'm really sorry. Like, the best I can do is 280. So I can't go, I'm not spending 340. So remembering that my walkaway is actually 300.
Yep.
And so then they've rung them back again, and they said, well, actually, they've got a fallback reserve price, which is 320. So I'd never heard of a fallback reserve price before. I just thought the reserve price was the reserve price. So they said, can you do 320? And I said, no, look, I could probably go to 290, but that's it. And so then they've rung them back again, and then they've said, look, you know, it's the 21st of December. They just want this done with, you know, it's the end of the year, basically. If you can bring it up to 300, it's a deal. So I said, okay, we can make it 300. It's a deal.
21st of December.
Yeah. So
awesome.
Then everyone left, and then the agent said to me, oh, look, you know, I can't believe that they let you get it for that price. He said, there was a man here that was going to pay 350 once it was passed in. So I've come home, my JV partner, she wasn't even at the auction. She just left me to it. And I've told her the story, and she said, well, you might think I'm crazy, but why don't we just sell it straight to this guy that wanted to pay 350 and we don't do a thing to it? And I said, oh, okay, that's a good idea. So it is genius, isn't it, Tabitha? So I've rung the agent again. I said, you thought you're on Christmas holidays, but you're not. Can you ring this guy and ask him if he'll buy it off us for 350? So for the next couple of days was backwards and forwards, and we agreed on 346. So we sold it straight to him for 346,000. So we didn't have to do a thing to it.
Wow.
Yeah, and so the profit in that for us was 30,000 because we still
costs.
Paid. Yeah, we still had to pay stamp duty.
Yep.
And we did look into it as far as seeing if we could do it without paying stamp duty, but we couldn't on that particular deal. And we also paid the agent an agent's fee because he put the deal together. Yep. So yeah, so it was $30,000 profit for a paper shuffle.
Wow. And so the first, you bought it on the 21st of December, and when did it go through?
The settlement, I think it ended up being March, actually.
Okay, but you exchanged contracts earlier. So when did?
No, it was all sort of.
I'm just trying to work out, because you bought it on the 21st. How long before it? It was sold in March.
Yeah, it didn't settle until March, because quite often with the mortgagee sales they extend it for some reason as well. So we pretty much settled on it, and then probably a day later he settled on it.
Okay, great. All right. Yeah. But it was a paper shuffle. You did nothing for 30K over Christmas up to March.
someone asked me where you find the mortgagee sales. Like I've actually done a YouTube video on how to find mortgagee sales. So,
and I think Dymphna mentions this as well in the ultimate bootcamp that's on there.
Yes.
She does go through, and there's a couple of different places as well that you can jump onto.
But you can even just in realestate.com.au in the keywords, you can just write mortgagee. That's a good starting point.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Thank you for your comments. They're good. Thank you. Okay.
Cool. All right. So now, is that it? Have you? So this is all up to time. So March was a time when COVID hit.
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay.
Yes, it was actually. Yes. So then my JV partner, she's that JV partner, she's gone off and bought land. So she's put all of her cash into that. So she's now out of the market, but she's happy. It was her dream. That's what she was working towards. So that's really good. I actually started doing some buyer's agency work, helping people to find share houses, actually, houses that could be turned into houses of multiple occupancy. So I did that all through last year, the COVID time, and the beginning of this year. And then I actually had quite a bad car accident at the beginning of this year. So I was out of action for a few months. And so what I've been doing was I have been putting offers on houses. I've decided to joint venture with my son and use his borrowing power. I've put a lot of offers on houses this year, and like in the last 2 months, a lot, almost like every week, I'm putting offers on houses and being beaten by much higher offers, either owner occupiers or interstate investors. So a lot of eastern states investors they're just buying up properties all over Perth, basically, because they can see what good value it is. And obviously their equity has gone up, so then they've got better borrowing capacity as well. Yeah. So but then I was getting really quite down about putting in so many offers and not being able to move forward. And then getting back to like the energy, you've got to keep your energy levels high and positive and that kind of thing. I've been doing a bit of work on that as well. So what's happened over the last couple of weeks is I've just thought, I'm just going to let it flow. I'm not going to just keep pushing so hard trying to find these houses. I'm just going to see, I'm still taking action each day, but I'm just going to see what comes a bit more naturally to me. So last week I had an interior designer come to me and say, I've got this massive houseboat interior design job to do in Broome. And I need someone with project management expertise and good admin skills to manage this project for me. Like I need, someone to research all the different fabric places and all the different things and get everything together for me. So can you do it for me?
Now, Julie, the interesting thing is when you're mentioning this, Suze, who's been typing in here, is sitting there clapping. She's doing it, clapping like, yes, another one. It's like your networking skills are working, and then suddenly people are coming to you. So
true, yeah. And then this week, I've had a couple of guys that have been doing a reno, and it's just taken a lot longer than what they wanted, and they're struggling and they're a bit overwhelmed with it. So they've come to me and said, look, can we just get your services to help us get back on track, get the budget on track, get the accounting done and the timeline. So yeah, I'm helping them too. So I feel like I've got this sort of like little admin consultancy or whatever you like to call it. I'm not really sure what to call it at the moment, but these are the types of opportunities that are coming to me at the moment. So that's what I'm going with, and I'm enjoying it because I'm helping people solve problems as well. And I'm using my expertise to do that.
Fantastic. Fantastic. That's so cool. So cool. So if you were to have a look at the 7 deals and so forth over that, have you done a calculation of what it all works out to be?
Yeah, with the buyer's agency, fees that I've been paid as well, it's come, and with my parts of the joint ventures and profits, I think it adds up to about $250,000 that I've made.
Yep.
Yeah, and
awesome.
And that wouldn't have been possible without me going to that boot camp. in Sydney that Dymphna did. This has been actually
Yeah.
over nearly 10 years. Probably 9 years. So it has been a while. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. But then
Yeah.
the other thing is that a lot of those deals are no money down for you.
Yeah. All of them. Yeah. Most of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except the very
Fantastic.
first one that we bought.
Yep. Yep. When it comes to the training, what's the thing that really is the most exciting thing for you with Dymphna's training?
Yeah, what I got really excited about when I learnt, Dymphna's strategies was you could look at a property and there's just so many different creative strategies that you could potentially employ or engage. And that's what I really like. I like to just create something out of nothing, I suppose, or what other people perceive as not much, and then just see what you could do. So even just like when you're renovating, so like if you can't sell it, you've got option 2. You could just rent it out, positive geared, of course. So I always make sure that as my option 2, if we can't sell it, that it's going to be positively geared.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the HMO strategy. There's the share houses room by room. There's the Airbnb strategy, and that's just all out of doing a renovation. Then when you start bringing in the subdivision, type stuff that you can do on a property as well. The other thing that I get really excited about is when you see a duplex that's being sold on one title. I love the paper shuffling idea. I love the idea of being able to, say, do a renovation on a duplex and also do a strata titling of it so that you've actually got 2 titles, so that you're just stacking up, as Dymphna says, you're stacking these strategies all the time, but having this open mind to all these strategies that can be employed. And then, of course, then when you start going into commercial, then your mind's just blown with the amount of things that you can do.
Absolutely. One of the things I want to know is how is your life different now?
Well, yeah, so I'll tie Suze's question into that as well. Like,
okay.
When I've done my dream boards and my visualization about what my life will be, right back at the beginning, it would be I'm living in a really nice, like coastal home by the beach. I can go to the beach every morning and go for a swim, walk along the beach, have my time, use my time each day doing the stuff that I want to do. And, beautiful garden, I've got veggies and fruit and stuff growing as well. So when I look at where I'm now living and the life that I'm living, that is exactly how I was visualizing it and how I've been putting it on my dream boards. So, yes, I am living in my dream home and having my dream life.
Yeah, awesome. Now, did you want to describe a little bit about what it's like to have the change of confidence from when you started as well? Because I think that that's a real important way that, like you're now saying, oh yeah, I can do that. I can do anything. That there's these kind of little catchphrases that come out, when you're talking, that make you seem like you've got amples of confidence, and there's nothing that you can't go out and do. And is there anything else you can tell us about how that has occurred and how you're thinking and your attitude is different?
Well, I really was committed to getting out of my comfort zone. So I knew that I needed to break out of that non-confident space and feeling small and feeling like everyone else is better than me. I knew that I needed to really step out of my comfort zone. So I've done a lot of work on that. I've done personal development courses that are hard, like they make you step out of your comfort zone. What else have I done? And I've just taken action, when I said that I'd set the goal to put an offer on a property by the end of the year, I said it in such a way that I honor my word to myself. So I set the goal, if I don't put an offer on a property by the end of this year, I will jump out of an aeroplane, because I'm absolutely petrified of jumping out of an aeroplane. So I thought that is the scariest thing that I can do, that I do not want to do. And I will honour my word to myself. If I don't put an offer on a property, I'm going skydiving, which scares the shit out of me. So,
wow.
yeah, just getting out of my comfort zone a lot.
Yep. Fantastic. Fantastic. Awesome. Awesome. So what advice would you give to, like, you know, like we've got some new students, and obviously some students who know you very well as well, that are kind of giving you nice supportive kind of things. What Mark said, self-blackmail, LOL. Yes, Mark. So, well, what advice would you give to someone who's starting out, possibly a new student? We've got some new students here as well. What would you say? What would you say to them if they're just starting out?
Get clear on your strategy, and like, particularly if, you know, if you're looking at all these big deals that people do, like I know that Mark does amazing deals, but they're too big for me to contemplate, especially if I was first getting into it. So if you only want to do small deals, which is like what I did, but don't limit yourself to small deals if that's not what you want to do. But decide whatever it is that you're going to do and start taking action on that. But you've got to take action. You've got to talk to people. So I find sending texts and emails, that doesn't count. You've either got to ring and speak to someone or go into their office and talk to them. And I actually think when they see you is the best, you know. I know that at the moment you can't always do that, but if you can, that's what you should do. But definitely call them. Don't hide behind your little, you know, phone typing or, you know, email typing or whatever. You've got to get out there. You've got to put yourself out there.
And that boosts your confidence too, isn't it?
Yeah,
you have to,
when you get good feedback, you know, like I didn't know what I was going to do when I walked in there. Like I just felt like a phony, like, oh, hi, I'm a renovator and I flip houses. And I just thought they were going to just chase me out of there. And she sat me down and she said, oh, I'm your man. I'm your partner. I'm going to find this for you.
Yeah.
So
and she did. And she did.
Yeah.
How cool is that? How
Yeah.
cool is that? Awesome. And what would you tell others about the community if you're meeting somebody else and so forth about Dymphna and the ILRE real estate?
Which I do. Anyone that says, have you, you know, what do you think of Dymphna? Have you heard of Dymphna? Whatever, I just say yes. It's the best value course that you could ever do. It's the best course in Australia. Yeah, hands down. Basically, the information that is shared is fantastic. But yeah, like all of this ongoing connections type stuff that is happening all the time is amazing. And also, or particularly in Perth, we have quite regular meetups with people from this community. So we're a close community. It's really good, and we all help each other out. And you know, love to welcome new people in as well. It's really good.
Yeah, it's actually a really good point, because there are meetups around Australia. So if you haven't already, jump onto the website under the community tab, and it will have where those meetups are. And obviously, you know, we want to join a meetup, and Perth does have a very strong kind of community spirit, because you're a little bit further away, and so you've connected quite a lot there. So, and that's really good to see. I know that you know, it's tougher when you travel to go to events, so I think that brings a bit of a bond as well. So yeah,
it does. It's really cool.
Awesome. Now I think Sarasa was saying, did you do a project management course to do project management, or is that already in your skill set? Or
no, no. But I have been a mother of 3 children, coordinating timetables and like after school sport, and you know, having to be organized basically and fit in work and all the rest of it. So to me, that's a skill that can be transferred.
I love it. That's what Dymphna says as well. If you're a mother, that's it. Project management skills, you have them. don't ask, don't do a course.
No, you don't need to. And then I actually went on to Excel online and found a template that made sense to me, and then used that as my project management template.
Yep. Awesome. Jullie, thank you so much. I think we're getting pretty close to the hour now, so I really appreciate you taking the time out. at such a last minute as well. Really appreciate it. And if anyone else wants to ask something, please do so now. Or if you do want to just like share, has this been inspirational? Has it been insightful? Did you want to say anything and share it? Because I know that Julie, you'll probably kind of be looking at the comments as well. Tap it in, let us know.
Yeah. Suze is asking about the trust setup. I still find it difficult to get my head around the trust setup. So I've just set one up with for my son because I want to do a JV with him. So I just got onto Pacific Law and the IPS structures people anyway.
Investor Pacific Structures.
Yes,
yeah, is IPS. It's a combination of Pacific Law and Wisdom Accounting, the two together.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. I just use an Excel template for my project management. I don't pay for subscriptions if I can help it. I just use the free tools that are out there as much as possible. Send the link to my email for tonight.
That's for me.
Yes, sorry.
It's addressed. Sarasa, watch out for the emails coming out from Dymphna. They have the links for tonight one, but don't worry, we'll make sure we get you there as well. And there's a lot of other comments as well. Definitely has been inspirational. Thank you guys. It's from Mandy. And then being a mother is the ultimate project manager.
Thanks, Eugene.
Good. All right, excellent. Well, look, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us. For everyone here, whether it be on Facebook and Zoom, really appreciate it. Julie, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. It's been really good to catch up with you, and it's been really insightful, and as you can see, it's been really inspirational for everyone as well. So keep on doing well, and I love the fact that your confidence is totally turned around, your attitude is totally turned around, and you're living the life that you want to live. So fantastic to hear.
Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Well, look, we're all done here. So thank you so much. Have a fantastic rest of the Friday. We do have the Ultimate Bootcamp, which is on again tonight. So make sure you join again tonight at 6 p.m. and it is going to be over the weekend. And of course, we have the Super Conference next weekend.
Yes, looking forward to that too.
That is huge. And this is going to be, this one's going to be interesting because it's a hybrid of live and virtual, and we've got finalists and everything. So it's going to be there's lots of juggles going on behind the scenes, if you're wondering. It's all good. Okay, cool. Julie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very much appreciate it. Everyone, thank you. We'll leave it there. Have a fantastic Friday afternoon. We'll see you online tonight, if not sometime soon for sure. Okay. See you now.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.